Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back. There, that's a little better.
Welcome.
There it is. This is episode 51.
Oh, that's right. We had episode 50 last. We didn't even mention it.
No, we didn't even buy ourselves a cake or anything. Or balloons.
We should have done that.
We should have. Yeah, we deserved it. Although that, the moonshine was kind of like
cake-esque.
Cake, yeah. It was essence of cake. But yeah.
I gave
we're 50 episodes into this crazy experiment.
I gave my brother, shout out to Juo. He had him try some of that moonshine. I think he fell in love.
Really? Yeah. Saw hearts in his eyes.
I was like, this is so good.
It is though. It is. Actually, I had something really good today for brunch. Well, it wasn't not brunch, but it was lunchtime. But First Watch has this. It's called cinnamon cereal milk or something like that.
Huh.
And it's like rum and cinnamon, like a cinnamon stick in there, and then some oat milk, and I forget what else, something else in there. So good.
That sounds good.
So smooth. And cold brew. That's the other part of it. Yeah, it's got cold brew.
That sounds delicious.
So it's like coffee, but it's got it was really good.
Maybe I'll do it. I haven't gone.
Those are the kinds of drinks that when I started drinking alcohol, I was like looking for.
Yes.
I was like, there's got to be something that's just so good.
That's
also alcohol.
Just doesn't taste like alcohol, but it is.
Right, yeah. Anyway, so.
About to try that. That sounds good.
Yeah, next time you're at First Watch, I highly recommend it. What's new?
What's new with you? Why don't you start this time?
Okay. I've been able to write a little bit.
Good.
Not writing much during the week, just Saturday mornings, which honestly, it's nice. It's nice to have lots of free evenings and still have that time on Saturdays. But I still am happy with like the progress I'm making. I successfully trimmed my prologue by like 1,500 words.
Oh, nice.
Made some tough choices. But it's hard when you like a piece of writing, like when you like the scene, to cut it, even if it's like, it's not, it's like, could this work without the scene? Yeah. But I just like all these little things in it. It's hard to do that. But I had to because it was like 7,500 words.
Jeez.
So now it's like barely over 6,000.
Nice.
So it probably still needs to shrink, but I can't, right at this moment, I'm not going to shrink it.
Can't do it.
Yeah. And I'm messing around with the beginning of the book of chapter 1. Like I've cut out a training scene that once again, like I liked it, but it didn't really serve the plot, and especially with some tweaks I'm making. And I was working on the opening, and I like the opening that I'm working on right now. So that's been fun. And then beyond that, reading The Silver Chair and playing Jedi Survivor is really the main other thing.
You've gotten further in it?
I'm like super enthralled with it right now.
Is it good?
It is like it's better than Fallen Order in my opinion. I mean, obviously I haven't beat the game.
Yeah.
But everything's better. I mean, it doesn't run as well on my computer.
Yeah, well.
But despite that, like I've seen lots of saltiness out there.
Yeah. Well, there's always gonna be saltiness towards games.
Right. Well, the saltiness is about, that it's
performance
wasn't optimized well. It was it seems kind of rushed out, but despite that, it's still, I mean, I can't be mad. I can't be mad at it because I'm enjoying it so much. The story is so intriguing, and not just that, but I just love all the little customization
I do
stuff in it. And
they definitely just took Fallen Order and then just added
Right.
Like, I like the customization aspect of even being able to customize like your facial hair and his hair.
Right.
BD1's customization, and then the gameplay mechanics. I've enjoyed
the
playing
extra stances are really cool. Give you different ways of playing.
What 2 are you using?
I've been favoring blaster stance and the dual blade stance because the dual blade stance is really good if you like blocking. A lot of blaster bolts and so like if you're fighting a lot of melee people, I mean I still fight a lot of melee people with it and do fine, but it's especially effective when you've got melee and ranged, people shooting at you. So I've been using that a lot. And the blaster stance I like because you can really like stun the blaster bolts, like ignore the people's block gauge. Like you have to like break their block meter in order to start doing damage to them. But if you shoot them with a blaster bolt, it just hurts them. Yeah. It also just like stuns people too. Like a guy's coming in with an unblockable attack and you shoot him and it just nulls the unblockable attack as long as it's not like a boss or something. So I've been favoring that. What about you? When you've been, I know you haven't played it a little bit lately, but
when I was playing, I was favoring the gun and saber stance mainly for like the ranged enemies, or like if I need a little bit quicker, and then the crossguard stance.
Okay,
because I just really like great sword-esque weapons, or heavier weapons in those types of games, and it was hard to get used to because before that I was using the dual wielding, which is extremely fast,
right?
And then I went from dual wielding to the cross guard, and it was a little bit hard to get. But now that I'm used to it and the timing and everything like that, it like just hits so hard.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that. And then the blaster for if I have like faster enemies or someone ranged, I could pull the blaster out.
Someone made an observation that in blaster stance, the way you use your saber is kind of fencing like Count Dooku, which is fun.
I also just like that they gave us a blaster stance.
Yeah, like that's cool. When you can customize the blaster, that's fun. It took me a while before I found any customization stuff for it, but I just started finding some, and that's been fun.
I like that. I like that aspect. I also I don't know. I just love the thought of Jedi with blasters. Yeah, and I hate that it's never utilized. It's cool for it to finally be utilized in a video game. Yeah,
definitely. I just love all the new. I love the characters. I mean, you mentioned it before, how lived in the world feels. It just, the more you spend time on Kobo, like the second time you go back, and I think there's a third time. I think I just went back the third time. And you do more stuff, and you'll run into characters and help them, kind of side mission stuff. But it's not just like a one-off like conversation with those characters. A lot of them end up coming back to the saloon and unlocking more aspects of the game you can mess around with, and also there's just so much nostalgic stuff in it too that they've put in that reminds me of the prequels, reminds me of certain scenes where I'm just like, this really reminds me of this scene, like with fighting droidicas in a there's just a level where you're fighting droidicas that really reminded me of episode 1. But yeah. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. A lot of good things.
Glad you're enjoying that. Glad you're enjoying that game.
I feel like, I honestly think that it might be like up there with, I might put it up there with like Mass Effect, the Mass Effect series. I might put it up there with like The Last of Us, like story-wise and stuff. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm just really. Yeah,
the story definitely like super intrigued me. I don't think I'm very far in it at all. I'm only on Kobo. I think I just went back to Jeddah for the second time.
Okay. I need to talk to you when you finish Jeddah again, because the end one of the things you do later on there is just really cool and fun. So
I'll let you know when I'm.
Yeah,
I'll probably do that sometime in the near future. But yeah, the story definitely. I mean, it intrigued me enough to start reading the High Republic stuff again.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, I don't want to go on and on. So, what have you been able to do with all your work you've been doing?
Not too much the past couple weeks. Jessica's work, and then my brother came into town. Yeah. Shout out to Jill again. He was in town for like a good week, which I managed to get off from pretty much all the days. But by doing that, I had to stack all my days at the end of the week. So now I'm like on like a 5-day run, and then another 4 days after that. I have been continuing to try to read. I'm on the young adult Star Wars High Republic of Phase 1 or Wave 1 of Phase 1. You know, all this whatever. It's called Into the Dark by who wrote it? What's her name?
I think I saw. I was at Barnes and Noble recently. I think I saw that one. That's
Claudia Gray.
Is that the middle grade one or is it YA?
The YA.
Okay.
Claudia Gray. It is actually really good. It has very much held my attention. It was cool because they're kind of like the main character is he's not like your typical Jedi that you think of that likes to go and do heroic stuff and fight with lightsabers. He's an archivist. He likes to go into the archives and search up history and historical stuff and like learn about all these different things. So his viewpoint is different, and so because I feel like the book kind of focuses more on stuff like that. So like they're even like the premise of the book is they end up during the hyperspace disaster that happens in the main adult novel. This is like a side story where these characters get trapped on a station, and the station was from a race that was who knows how old but isn't around anymore. And there's obviously secrets and stuff and all that, but there's also like the overarching thing is there's like an overwhelming darkness, like dark side force to the place. You come to find out later on in the book, you know, spoilers, that it has to do with like another race that's like everyone didn't know of, they didn't even know it was a thing. And they're like this like plant like race, but they're like they're pretty much evil and like very dark sidey. So it's just cool to have different species and different enemies kind of brought into to the Star Wars universe instead of just Jedi Sith, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because obviously you have the main bad guys of Phase 1, the Nile, are still there as well, and are an issue. But it's been really fun to read. So I've been doing that. Obviously, we're trying to read the Silver Chair.
Right.
But like with Josh in town, I didn't even have time to read the Star Wars book. Trying to think, not much. I mean, like I said, yeah, Josh just took it most of the time. We just hung out. Oh, there is this cool barcade in Lake Mary.
Yeah.
Literally 30 minutes from here.
Yeah, wow.
$16 to get in. You get a band on, you can play all the games you want. It's not huge, it's not massive. There's a bigger one apparently in Oviedo. It is a lot of fun, and we should go do that sometime.
What was the funnest game you played there? I don't know, is funnest a word? Most fun?
Okay, so this wasn't the most fun, but this was the most hype.
Most funnest?
The most funnest. So there's the punching bag, not the punching bag, but like the machine where it drops the punch thing. Yeah. You punch and you get your strength.
Right.
I beat the record at the place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With punching it?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you channel a lot of like anger and frustration?
We were just back and forth going through it, and then I was hitting the hardest out of everybody, and then finally the score.
Obviously.
I think the high score is 940. I think it goes up to like 999. And the highest score was 940, and I was like, I just want to beat 900 at least. So I went and punched it, and I beat 900. I got like 910 or something like that.
Nice.
And after that, I was like, and this is like literally the place about to close. I was like, I think I could beat the record. I was like, I don't think I used my whole power there. And
you had to charge up.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is when I went and did it, and I beat 900 again, but I got like 920. And instead of like trying to warm up or trying to whatever, I just was like, screw it, ran and punched it, and ended up getting 947.
You ran?
I didn't run. I didn't
running punch.
I didn't run. I'm more like I just turned around and then turned back and punched it.
Falcon punch. Oh, you snuck up on it.
Yeah, snuck up on it. But it was so hype because we were all drinking a little bit. I had a few beers and so did everybody else. So we were all just like super. And there's two people there that were my brother's friends that we didn't even know, but they're all super hype, and they're like, dude, every time we come here, we're just gonna think of this. It was fun. But they had a Star Wars game where you fly in a ship.
Okay.
You have the handle and the speed. And,
right.
That was a lot of fun. Just because I just love those games.
Is it a shooting game? Are you shooting? Are you like pulling cargo?
Shooting and flying.
Running spice?
You're doing like the trench run or...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
They have a whole table set up of switches. So
really?
There are Switch games that you play at Smash, like if you want to go do Smash.
That's cool.
Apparently, like the one in Oviedo does Smash tournaments and stuff like that.
Nice.
Mario Kart, a couple like the oldie games. They have like a SNES setup, it looked like. So it was just a lot of fun for really cheap,
cool. Yeah.
And the beers were good. I had a nice little cider that was 8%.
Okay, that's
that
nice.
was like did not taste like it was 8%.
So it was good. Yeah.
So it was a good time. They have a pool table set up outside. So yeah, it was a good time. We definitely need to go.
Yeah,
do a family trip.
That sounds a lot of fun. Bring the kids.
Oh, they also do if you cosplay, they do discounts. So instead of 16, you pay like 11 if you cosplay.
Oh,
yeah. It's pretty. It's neat. It was a cool place.
That is a cool place. It's cool. It's so nearby too.
Yeah. Apparently, it's relatively new. The one here in Lake Mary, like a couple months ago.
Okay.
Actually, it's a nice area where it's at. But yeah, so we just hanging out with family this week. We did get Josh and I both got it early because we were like, oh, you're gonna come down, we can LAN party it up and play. Diablo 4 just dropped.
Oh, okay.
We didn't end up playing the entire time he was here. I did when he stayed at my parents' house. I still had to stay up because of work and all that. I went and played. But that's the game I'm on right now. Is Diablo 4.
Okay. Playing
that.
Nice.
I just like those types of games, and the game the gameplay is very engaging, and I just I like loot drop games where they just items are dropping constantly and you're trying to upgrade your character. I don't really know too much about the story of Diablo, but I played Diablo 3. I didn't play the other ones.
I mean, Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, they're all like the same kind of style, right? Or is
Warcraft is
not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft.
Warcraft is an RTS, so is StarCraft. Diablo is not an RTS.
MOBA?
Not a MOBA. It is an action RPG.
But it's not first person though. It's like top.
It is, but it's still not like an RTS. It's got this similar top down, but instead of like Warcraft and StarCraft, I think you're controlling armies and different.
Yeah, you're right.
You have a single character and running around. It's a hack and slash RPG, action RPG, loot drop.
Gotcha.
Trying to think of game.
I don't know why I haven't gotten it. I've never really been into those kinds of games where it's like for some reason I just want to be down. Closer to the character.
That's fair. I mean, they have games that are. I don't know. I've always. This goes back to when I was a kid, and at my grandparents' house. They had a computer. They didn't have internet, but they had a computer. I guess they had internet, but not strong. Like this is way back when internet wasn't like how it is now. Obviously, way back. I'm acting like I'm 40.
Way back.
But the
technologically though, like there's been a big.
There has been
in a short amount of time. So, but
I remember when we would visit my grandparents for the summer, they had this computer, and I don't even know how the game was on there because it wasn't the full game; it was just a demo of the game.
Okay.
But it was a game called Fate, and we would just sit and we'd all take turns playing. You can go. It was like a dungeon crawler, it's action RPG hack and slash like Diablo like. But the demo only went down to like 5 levels instead of I think in the base game you can go to like 99 levels. So you just kept going down further in levels, getting more gear, going back to town, selling stuff, getting more equipment, leveling up, and then going back and going further into the dungeon, doing quests.
Okay.
But you can only get down to 5 levels. But I just remember just as a kid, we would just all play this game. We'd watch each other play it, we'd play it, and then just loved it. And ever since then, I've just always loved those types of games. Torchlight is a big one that was...
Okay.
We were big fans of. Diablo came later for me because obviously as a younger kid, I wasn't able to play Diablo because it's Diablo
graphic. Yeah, right.
It's very graphic.
Hell.
It's very graphic.
Diablo means devil.
Yeah. Very graphic. Diablo 4 is pretty graphic.
Very devil.
Yeah, I just love those games.
Are you the devil? Or are you fighting the devil?
You are fighting the devil.
Okay, well, so, see, why wouldn't
you're fighting?
Why wouldn't your parents want you to fight the devil?
Probably because of all the blood splatters and.
Well, it's anyway.
But yeah, that's about it. it's been a fun week, but I'm ready to have a day off and just relax and
Yeah.
read and
Be a part of society.
no, screw society.
Fine. We don't want you.
What do you say we
Well, yeah.
take a quick break?
Take a break, come back, and we'll talk about our first little section of the silver chair. And we'll be back.
We're back.
We're back. So we got some drinks today. What are you drinking, Jeremiah?
Today we do not have a drink. So
We're
I am
drinking stuff.
I am sipping on some coffee since I woke up about an hour
What kind of
ago.
coffee?
Regular, original. I don't think it's Folgers.
What kind of coffee is it? You in the kitchen.
Oh,
Ooh.
7-Eleven Colombian coffee.
The guy was like, "This is."
It's pretty good.
The 7-Eleven guy?
It is actually.
Actually, really good.
I would not have assumed that it was 7-Eleven coffee. It is pretty good, but I'm drinking it with some Sweet and Low and cinnamon churro creamer.
Ooh. What brand is Cinnamon Churro? Is it the one everyone, the Nature's Delight or whatever?
Honey, what brand of creamer do you know?
Oh,
International
International Delight,
Delight.
not, what did I say? National Delight.
Grace has the same flavor right
Copier.
Now I can't drink it. So that's what I'm drinking.
I'm just embracing the derailing of things today. It's
Which is fine because we really don't
It's
have the
good
time.
for
We don't have
me.
the time to derail.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. So the silver chair.
Well, wait, what are you drinking?
Oh yeah. I'm drinking H2O
Oh, man.
water in my like what, I don't even know what you
Water
call
bottle?
this,
Your
canteen.
your flask. Not
Yeah,
flask. your-
canteen that's got all my Brandon Sanderson stickers on it.
Nice.
Pretty much that's all it is.
I'm a big fan. I love the Life Before Death sticker. I need to put that on something.
Because there's the Frugal Wizard one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I want my box hasn't even sent. I'm so disappointed.
I know. I actually, yeah, I thought I had it today when I got, but it was because it was in the shape of a book, but it was not that.
Oh, well,
It was
I'll get it
something else.
eventually.
Yeah. Anyway,
So we've been reading
So, yeah.
next book in the Narnia series, The Silver Chair. This is, at this point, we have hit where I have not read any of this. I've read The
same here.
Magician's Nephew. Like when I first went through Narnia, I started with The Magician's Nephew,
yeah,
and then I read up, or I didn't read like Caspian or The Voyage Unto Her, but I've seen those movies, so I had a basic idea of what's going on. This
yeah.
is to the point
I'm
now
the same
where,
way.
This is to the point now where I literally have no clue what's going on or
Right.
how the story is going to go or what's going to happen. I've never heard of Puddleglum in my life except for what's his name's D&D character,
Yes,
and I did not know until now that was a reference to
I'm
Narnia.
so glad that I'm now experiencing because that's been like I've known for years that's like his favorite character in Narnia.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
Puddleglum. So shout out.
I thought that
shout
was
out
just
to
a very-
Kyle. If you listen, Kyle, shout out to you.
Shout out. I thought that was just a very funny name that he came up with. But no, he stole it from Narnia.
No. What was the character? It was Puddleglum, but it was something else with it. I can't remember what it was.
I bet you I've got it written down somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway.
Talk amongst yourselves while I figure this out. Medium.
Medium
Puddleglum.
Oh, because I think medium's like a nickname. All
right.
For one of his nicknames.
Shout out to Medium Puddleglum.
So I'll just give my like first impressions. Obviously I haven't read the whole book yet. I'm a little further than you are, but my experience so far with the book is it's very engaging. The characters, the main characters, Jill and Eustace, are very entertaining pair. And the story, the way it's set up and framed and everything, is very, I don't know. There's something about it that makes me like kind of pulled me in right away, and you kind of know where things are supposed to be going, and what they're supposed to be trying to do right away, and that has been enjoyable. versus Dawn Treader, which was a great book. I enjoyed very much, but you're just kind of going by the seat of your pants. You don't really know what the journey is, what the mission is. There's not really like a really crucial nature. Like the nature of the mission is not crucial.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like he's fulfilling this oath to find these lords. But in Silver Chair, it's much more important of a mission. So what about you? First impressions, Silver Chair so far. Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's different. It feels different than the first three in the sense of I feel like it's not overtly trying to. I'm not going to say overtly because it's C.S. Lewis, so it kind of is, but like
Yeah. Like the allegory doesn't
yes,
feel as obvious.
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and the Voyage of Doctor are very allegorically Christian.
Mm-hmm.
This one starts off doesn't feel as much so far.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's there. I mean, Aslan's there, and he says a couple really good lines. But like so far, it's really this is the one that's felt the most fantasy adventure-esque to me. Specifically, like staying fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice. It's a nice little change up.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, you still have those allegorical moments. But it's not. It doesn't feel as overt.
Right.
It's confusing me that they keep calling Eustace Scrubb.
Okay.
Just because I used to hear Eustace is what he was called in Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Right. I wonder if it's because in this book they're both classmates. They both go to the same school.
Probably.
And so a lot of times when you go to school, their last name gets thrown around a lot. Calling roll and stuff like that. And
True.
I don't know. I got called all red.
I got called Carrig.
Yeah.
Well, in ROTC I did.
And what?
ROTC. I was one of those kids in high school. But so far I'm liking it. I like the new characters, the owls, and obviously meeting Puddleglum.
Yeah.
It definitely just feels. It does because it feels like at least with Caspian and then like Voyage of Dawn Treader, it kind of I feel like we got a little bit away from the talking animals and like the weirder creatures.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe, you had like
they spend so much time on the boat that
yes.
There's you see the whatever they're called, the 1 foot dwarves.
Yes.
But other than that, and Reepicheep, that's
kind of it. Where now it's we have the talking owls, we have Puddleglum, we have all the different creatures that are seen throughout when the king's leaving.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, this one definitely. I don't know. I'm enjoying this one a lot. It feels like it. It feels just feels good to have this so far. This very just adventurous, whimsical story.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think? Did you have any thoughts, like at the beginning of the book, with like the school that they're at?
It felt like a
experiment house is what it's.
That's terrifying.
It is a terrifying name for a school. I guess it's.
Well, it even talks about how the principal like with bullying, he like doesn't stop it. He sees it as like a way to get into the minds of the kids or whatever, which is just awful. And also just I liked a couple slight little nods of like they wouldn't know what the Bible is at their school,
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't know that name.
Yep.
That's interesting. Some of the parallels. I mean, it's hard for me to not parallel the idea of like experiment house and all these ideas that are kind of like it's like all these ideas that are being kind of tried out on these kids in a way. Like I feel like that's very much happening today. It's like the newest fads of like, whatever the newest thing is that people think about how society should be or people should be or your identity or whatever. It's like, let's just inject that immediately into the schools all the kids go to.
There's no longer like we need to correct this behavior because it's wrong. It's no, let's see what Once again, let's just let the kids, let's let the people do what they want, because how are we to tell them they're wrong?
Yeah, let the experiment play out.
Let the experiment play out, see what happens. I do like, though, the it talks about Eustace's transformation
Right.
in the beginning, where Jill, with his first, like that first chapter, and you know, like in Jill's inner monologue talks about how he changed from like last year to this year, and obviously he had that adventure into Narnia, which changed him.
Right.
It was just cool to see.
He used to be a part of the like group of bullies that would, you know, be terrible to her, and ever since he came back to school, he was different.
Yes, but
she still doesn't really give him much. She doesn't really give him much credit, you know. Yet she's a very. I don't know if this is just how she is, or if it's because she goes to this school and she's had to just harden herself. But she's a very hard, kind of stubborn, tough person, which is a big part of, I think, the whole story of like why the story goes the way it does and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that, which is very interesting. Like him, and especially like when you see like Lucy. I mean, you've seen Susan maybe be a little, and Lucy has some flaws and stuff too, but the most prominently portrayed like girl in the book is Lucy, and she's very much a very like mild-mannered, sweet.
Yes.
And so it's very interesting seeing Jill as this like really like kind of prideful, stubborn, you know, talking to Eustace really roughly and stuff like that kind of personality. Yeah. You know. But so how do they get they get like they're being chased.
Well, Jill, the book starts, or that chapter starts, Jill is crying over by some bushes.
Right.
And, you know, Eustace finds her, they talk, and they start talking about Narnia. I think because she asks about him changing, because she just says, go back and be like, because he used to placate to them or was with them, and then now he's not. And he explained what happened, and so he talks about his first adventure into Narnia with Edmund and Lucy. It's around that time that the bullies start, you know, going after them, so they're running. Oh, so they're trying to go to Narnia, actually. I remember they...
they're saying some words.
Basically praying, asking to go to Narnia.
Praying to Aslan, yeah.
Praying to Aslan, and... but then they end up running to this... I guess the school is enclosed by a wall, but there's like a door that leads out that's sometime locked, sometime isn't. And open up the door, and sure enough, there's Narnia. Well, the world of Narnia.
Yeah. Well...
because it's not actually like Narnia. It's
seems like they're in Aslan's country. That's how I took it. Because the mountains are huge. They're so high up that she can see the clouds down below.
I didn't think about that. You're right.
And Aslan's there. Forget if there was something else that gave me that clue. I think it was the mountains, because I just remember at Voyage of the Dawn Treader when
mountains that are so
they
high.
See the mountains that are like just insanely high. Whenever they get to that wave, you know, and I was like, is this his country? And he has to blow them really far to get into Narnia.
That's true.
So that's kind of a cool place to start.
Out, yeah.
You know,
it was very cool.
Like it's like basically like they were sent from heaven in a way.
It was very. It's very cool visually too. To just the
blowing.
Well, imagining visually the being on this really massive cliff with the clouds, like they're so happy the clouds are small, and then Eustace falls.
I mean, he does, but it's because of Jill.
It's because of Jill.
Like he's trying to grab her because
she's so close.
She's trying to show off, basically, and he's trying to pull her back because she gets too close, and then she jerks her arm, and he goes flying.
Yeah.
And he dies. That's
it. That's the end of the book.
She's a murderer.
Narnia's done with. Eustace dead.
No, thankfully not.
Jill's stuck on this mountain with a lion.
So Aslan just starts, all of a sudden there's a lion next to her.
Oh yeah.
And just starts Eustace gets picked up on the breath of Aslan. Like he just starts blowing him to all the way to Narnia. It's like such a like weird thing to try to imagine.
It really is.
And the timing of it too, like somehow he's able to blow him so he's not so getting there so much before her.
Yeah, because then he ends up blowing her, and
Yeah.
she ends up getting there like right after Eustace.
Yeah.
Very odd. Then you had this cool interaction between Jill and Aslan.
Yeah,
where Jill's obviously very frightened. She doesn't understand Narnia, so there's just this lion,
Right.
and she's just like freaked out, and Aslan's just being Aslan.
Yeah, I think he, you know, because of who she is, like in terms of her personality and her flaws, he treats her very differently than he treats. I mean, not that he's not stern. He's stern in the other books with the characters, but he doesn't really want to. He doesn't really try very hard to reassure her about that he's safe, whether he's safe or not.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they've said in the other books he's good. He's not a tame lion, you know, that he's not safe, but he's good, you know. But in this part, it's a little more heavy than that because she's like really thirsty. Did you have it pulled up or?
Yeah, well, because they're next to the stream, and this is when he says, you know, come drink from the stream, and she's like obviously terrified. Like she even asks him to like go away while I drink. And he's just like,
no.
It says the lion answered this only by a look and a very low growl.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, then she says, you know, will you promise not to do anything to me if I do come? And Adler's response is, I make no promise. And then she goes, do you eat girls? And he goes, I have swallowed up girls and boys, women and men, kings and emperors, cities and realms.
What do you think that means? Like, what does he mean there, do you think? Like, what does Aslan mean?
I mean, I just think
he's not obviously, I don't think he obviously saying I've eaten.
I think he's just allegorical.
Yeah.
For, you know, Christ is above all and
yeah,
God's above all.
Yeah.
I do love that she goes,
maybe judgment, like talking about judgment or
probably, or more of just, I think it's probably just his way of saying I'm above all of that.
Right.
You know, after that, she goes, I daren't come and drink. And then he just goes, then you'll die of thirst.
Right. And she says like, maybe there's another stream. And he says there is no other stream, you know, which is all obviously very allegorical too. I think part of the reason is that too, I think this is Aslan's country. And I think this is like representative of the river of life. And there's one river in like heaven.
And it definitely seems like he's doing this whole interaction is his way of getting her to realize a fault in herself, I guess. You know, because he even comes down to, you know, he says, you know, where is the boy? She says, oh, he fell off the cliff. And he goes, how did he come to do that? Human child. And he was trying to stop me from falling, sir. And then he says, why were you so near the edge? I was showing off. And then he just answers, that's a very good answer. Do so no more. And then it even says, here for the first time, the lion's face became a little less stern. You know, like he's trying to get, and then he explains, he's safe. I blew him to Narnia, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's just an interesting little interaction between Jill and Aslan here. Of like,
yeah, I've read people like, you know, mainly people that are like have turned away from Christianity, or maybe they're just atheists. They haven't turned away from it, but they just don't believe in it. But people have a very like negative view of this interaction as like, this is just a cruel thing. He won't give her any, you know, reassurance. You know, he's just unkind, you know, whatever. He's letting her, even if that's not what he means, he's letting her think he knows what she's going to think. You know, but I just think here it's about him knowing who she is, just like how God knows who we are and knows what we need. Sometimes we need the gentleness, and sometimes we need sternness. You know, and it also, I think, is going to end up being a little bit of a like metaphor for, I don't know if metaphor is the right word, but like a microcosm for the story, because she needs to learn that even if she's afraid and she doesn't know if it's safe or not, that she needs to listen to his word and trust him. And he's going to give her a really important task and give her 4 signs to follow, you know, and it's going to be really important that she follows those signs, even if it doesn't seem right, or even if it seems too difficult or hard, or safety is in question, that she needs to trust his word even whenever it's difficult. So definitely a really very, to me, like one of the most gripping openings in all of the books that we've read so far, because, you know, getting that very gripping interaction with her and Aslan. But yeah, so should we read the 4 signs
Yes.
he gives her before he blows her along? So basically he tells her that the king's son has been like missing for years, and that she's going to help. He's going to give her this task to go and find the king's son with Eustace's help, and he'll give her 4 signs to help her, and if she follows these, she'll be successful, she'll have good help, all these things. So the 4 signs are: first, as soon as the boy Eustace sets foot in Narnia, he will meet an old and dear friend. He must greet that friend at once. If he does, you will both have good help. Second, you must journey out of Narnia to the north till you come to the ruined city of the ancient giants. Third, you shall find a writing on a stone in that ruined city, and you must do what the writing tells you. Fourth, you will know the lost prince, if you find him, by this, that he will be the first person you have met in your travels who will ask you to do something in my name, in the name of Aslan. So we learned right away, like, kind of these steps that they're going to have to walk through in this journey, which gives you that anticipation of like, okay, when is this? What's the next sign? When is it going to happen? Are they going to succeed?
You know, it gives you something. I like this, that they did this 4-step thing, or these 4 signs, because it also gives you something to look for while you're reading. Sometimes the fun of the reading is seeing foreshadowing or trying to pick up on things, especially if you reread a book, you know? And so like you're going to be reading these books, and you're going to be looking for these different things, these different signs, whether they notice it or not.
Right.
You know, Aslan is just so interesting in this beginning of this book too, because he then, you know, she even says right after, she's like, "Oh, thank you. I see thank you very much. I see." And then he just stops his child. "Perhaps you do not see quite as well as you think. But the first step is remember. Repeat to me in order the 4 signs." And then she struggles to remember the 4 signs.
Right.
And has to continuously repeat them to remember them.
He makes her, makes her keep repeating them. Yep. It's just so funny to me too, that he just puts her on the job. You know, it's like, this is like, I brought you here for this reason.
Now do it.
Go do this thing. He tells her that you'll do this, or you'll die trying, or you'll go back to your own country. Like, those are the 3.
It's very interesting
options.
too, because I think so far it's the first time that Aslan's like ever actually done that specifically, like given a specific quest to the group.
True, right? Because they kind of, in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, they meet up in the course of them just trying to get through and find Aslan, you know. And then in Prince Caspian, I mean, he tells people stuff along the way, but once again, they're drawn into the world by Caspian, you know.
Yeah, this is the first time where like Aslan's just like, "I got this quest for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get Jill. She gets blown over to Narnia.
Yeah.
You get this cool little scene of her flying through the clouds, and
she's like going really fast.
Yeah. Which she didn't realize. She just, she lands and Eustace is chilling there, and turns out that he landed not too long before her. And then you have they find their way to Cair Paravel. Is that how it's pronounced? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Cair Paravel, where they see a procession out, the old king, and then procession out front, and then the dwarf on the Trumpkin, and come to find out that king is our good friend Caspian.
Yeah.
When Eustace finds out, he's like, "Oh, that's Caspian. He's so old."
Yeah, so that's the first sign. The first sign is the old friend that he's supposed to greet is Caspian, who's getting on a boat, and sailing through. I don't remember where exactly he was going, but he's leaving for the time being, and that was the first sign. And the first sign also came with like a promise of good help. Like if he greets this old friend, then you'll have good help on your journey. And so because Jill in the beginning knocks Eustace off, and therefore like the Aslan, Eustace isn't there to get all the same stuff, information. So just Jill has it. And so they just lose a lot of time, at least enough time to where they're not able to fulfill that first sign. So things start off rocky.
And then you find out what, the help that they would have gotten. I think, is it the owls? They're like, you would have gotten, the king you probably could have been sent with an army.
Exactly.
And
right.
had the king by, help, king's side. But now the king's gone, Trumpkin's in charge. And Trumpkin is, as we find out from the owls, is very by the rules. And there has been a rule that's put in place that no one can search for the sun because too many people have been lost. And the king says, I'm not going to continue to waste people's lives to try and find one person. And so Trumpkin is going to stick, even if a daughter of Eve and a son of Adam are in the world, Trumpkin is going to stick by that rule. So they have to kind of sneak around. The owls come in, and for a minute I thought the owls are going to be like bad for a minute.
Oh yeah,
the way that they're being set up. And there's
Court
also
of owls.
Yeah, for real.
There's a parliament of owls.
That's hilarious. I thought that was funny. But there is a point, page 35.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about this just because I thought it was interesting. The owl's talking to Jill, is picking up the owl. It's literally the very beginning of Parliament of Owls.
Okay.
Chapter 4. And he says, good, said the owl, then there's no time to waste. You must get away from here at once. I'll go and wake the other human, then I'll come back for you. You better change those court clothes and put on something you can travel in. I'll be back in 2 twos, and without waiting for an answer, he was gone. And then it says, if Jill had been more used to adventures, she might have doubted the owl's word, but this never occurred to her. Is it like common fantasy practice that owls are not trustworthy? Like, I don't understand this point. Because it seemed like I know in the Voyage of Dawn Treader, we had that interaction with the dragon, and it says, if Eustace had known more about dragons, he wouldn't have been laying on the gold to an extent. This seems like a similar nod, but I don't know, like, why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's owls. Is it that it's an owl, or is it that they've been picked up and set down by kind of a strange, creature and said, I'll be back soon, I don't know. That's a good question. I wish
maybe I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, maybe we can.
And next episode we'll see if there's like a some sort of because it seems like a lot of stuff that C.S. Lewis brings up like that, it has to do with like mythological lore or something like that.
Yeah, or fairy tales.
Fairy tales,
like
yeah.
that.
So I'm curious if there's something in there, or if this was just the owl. Little did you know the owl just wasn't going to come back for hours.
Oh, maybe that's it. I wonder if it's that. That's it. If that maybe owls are just not timely, yeah.
But anyway, you get the cool. You get this Parliament of Owls, which once again I was just like, this does seem kind of shady.
It reminds me of the Ents in the Entmoot in the Two Towers.
We even have a moment with Eustace that he was just like, now if this is anything. Oh, he even says right here. Yeah, Eustace has a whole little interaction of talking about how he knows King Caspian when he was younger, and that he even went to, sailed with Reepicheep the mouse and Lord Drinian. And he goes, and what I want to say is this, that I'm the king's man, and if this Parliament of Owls is any sort of plot against the king, I'm having nothing to do with it.
Good loyal
little king's man.
Yeah.
Which once again just shows, because Eustace and Caspian were sort of at odds a little bit in the other book.
Right.
Eustace was at odds with everybody. But it's cool now for him to be like, even though it's, Caspian's old and not even around, he's like, look, I'm the king's man, and I'm not gonna, stand for, plotting against him.
Right. Yeah.
And then you find out that the king's owls are good. And
right.
They have to go behind Trumpkin because they know Trump, even though Trumpkin's not a traitor, he's so by the rules.
Right.
And
the book.
I also like the point though of they're like, plus we're doing this we're not doing this at night to be sneaky. We're owls. Like, we're actually doing this in the right time to do it. You guys are just crazy and are in the daylight. It's just
Right. You also learn in this chapter the whole story of what happened with the prince and how he went missing.
Yeah, basically the queen.
Do you remember what happened? I don't want to just read
the queen.
That part a little skim. I don't know if I just didn't pay attention, but
So the queen. They all go away. The queen gets stung or bit by this serpent.
yeah,
And she dies. She's poisoned. They find out they're not going to be making, so she dies. And then for the next couple months, obviously the king and the son are distraught. And I guess the king is going off. It starts off with him going off trying to find this serpent. He goes away, tries to find a serpent. He ends up meeting some girl, I guess, who's very fair and beautiful.
Did it say anything about her, that she's lady of the something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But the son is talking to Drinian about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Drinian says, well, I would like to see. And he does. And then it is a very fair and beautiful woman, but even Drinian in the back of his mind is saying something is off about this.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps it to himself. The next day, the king's son goes off, never returns. And there's even an interesting little point here where Drinian goes to
Drinian
Caspian with a bitter heart. It says, I have betrayed you. I should have said something.
Mm-hmm.
And Caspian, even for a minute, it says, then Caspian caught up a battle axe and rushed upon the Lord Drinian to kill him. And Drinian stood still as stock for the death blow. But when the axe was raised, Caspian suddenly threw it away and cried out, I have lost my queen and my son. Shall I lose my friend also? And he fell upon the Lord Drinian's neck and embraced him, and both wept, and their friendship was not broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of how you kind of get this condensed version of how this king's son, Prince Aurelian, went off. And so now there's the owls and Eustace and Jill are talking, and it's they come to the conclusion, I think, that it's probably the serpent again.
Mm.
That serpent that killed the mother is now gossiped the son, but the owls believe that the prince is still alive. And obviously, Eustace says, well, he must be because Aslan is telling us to go help him, go save him, basically. And so this is kind of really the start of the adventure.
Mm.
They now kind of know the story, they know what's happening, so now they're going off to the north.
Yep.
And the owls say, basically, we'll take you as far as Wigwash, it's a weird one. A weird name. Marshwiggles.
Or the Marshwiggles.
Take them to one of the Marshwiggles.
Yeah.
And so this is where you get your first introduction to Puddleglum. Very interesting character.
Yeah, just another very iconic C.S. Lewis character. You've got Reepicheep, who's just this, in the last book, who's just this knight's knight, all about honor and bravery and very undaunted by things. And Puddleglum's a very different character.
Yes.
He's like everything. He's always expecting things to go bad, basically.
Well, literally his first words said in this book are, owls ahoy. It said, what is it? Is the king dead? Has an enemy landed in Narnia? Is it a flood or dragons?
Yeah. He's very much very negative about it, or has a negative expectation for how things go. And yet, I don't remember how much of that you see in this chapter, but you'll see that he still has his own kind of bravery.
Yes.
In amidst that, despite the way he views things, the way he expects things to go, it doesn't make him
sit in a
coward. Yeah. It doesn't make him say, there's no use trying.
Point. Might as well just stay here.
He's like, we're going to have to, just soldier on and just be tough through this. This is going to be really hard, and we're still going to have to try. So he still tries and he still does stuff, and he usually is successful. He fishes in this part, and he's like, we're probably not going to catch anything, and he catches tons of eels.
And even if we do catch a thing, the eels aren't going to be great. And then later on it says the eels were delicious.
Yeah, they catch a bunch of eels. He fixes them great. He tells them the food is not going to agree with them because they're not, Marshwiggles or whatever.
Even when he goes to sleep, even when he's putting them to sleep the first time, he's like, you'll like cold and hard and damp too. I shouldn't wonder, won't sleep a wink. All these different things. And they're like, and the next paragraph, they're like, and they slept pretty good.
Puddleglum's my name, but it doesn't matter if you forget it. I can always tell you again. It's so many great lines. And then one thing that cracked me up too is that part of the reason he's coming with them is because the other Marshwiggle said he's like too cheery.
Yes.
he's too like optimistic, and this will like somber him up, if he goes on a really hard journey.
Which is so funny.
That he's like the most cheery of the Marshwiggles that you get to meet, apparently, according to that. Does it also say in this chapter that they were starting to argue, but then they stopped arguing because as soon as they started arguing, Puddleglum was like, "Oh, I knew that we were going to have arguments on this tough journey," so they stopped just so that he's not right.
Oh yeah, here's a part. There would have been a quarrel about this, but as soon as they started sparring, the Wiggle rubbed his hands and said, "Ah, there you are. I thought as much." That's what usually happens on adventures. This made them both shut up.
I will say that at this point in the story, Jill is doing a very good job of repeating the signs.
Yes.
Keeping track of them. She's really, trying to make sure that they stay on track to go to north and find the ruined city of the giants. So they're going to get off on the right foot from here.
Yeah, off to the north to find this giant city, the ruins of this giant city. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah. We'll see if they can hold true to the signs or not. We'll see if they can find the prince.
Theories? You think they'll find the prince? Yeah,
I think they will. I think that...
I don't know. I think this is our episode 3, man. I think this one's going to end badly.
You think so?
This is the Narnia Star Wars episode
Order
3.
66.
Yep.
Everybody dies.
Lord Orenian's dead, and Caspian's dead now, going to be dead. And
yeah.
Evil's going to take over, and then Aslan's going to have to come back and save the world.
Sweet. What about you? Is that your theory?
That's my theory.
Just swoop in.
I'm ready for slaughter and mayhem in this children's book.
I think you'll get that eventually in the last battle. But
oh yeah.
But no, I don't know. I think this. I've read a little bit further, so I kind of know how things go on the signs front.
No spoilers.
So I won't say anymore. But
I'm gonna try to read some tonight. So
you'll see pretty quickly how it's gonna go. But
excited to see what happens, and then
we'll be back and we'll talk probably about the rest of it. Yeah, wrap it up.
Finish it up next episode.
And then maybe jump back to the horse and his boy. I feel ready to. I would like going from like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I was like, no, I want to stay with these characters. But now at this point, I'm invested enough in the world and the history of it that it'd be fun to go back to the horse and his boy. And
you also get it feels kind of right too, since the horse and boy was alluded to in this book.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I think that's another sign that we're speaking of signs. A sign that we're doing the right reading order.
Yes.
Because he's just alluded to as the tale of the horse and his boy.
So it feels right to go to the horse and the boy next.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll be back next time. This has been the Bridge of Two podcast. A far, far away bridge.